Hey, what's going on everyone? Sparks again with another character discussion video. Spring in the Northern Hemisphere started a few weeks ago, and it's been pretty nice, even though we're still not really supposed to be outside. As part of Assorted spring events, we got a special seasonal banner bringing Aerith's LD. I purpled her for Vincent's Lufenia, and I wanted the LD, and thankfully I didn't need to go too hard for it. So if you want to know what this recognizable flower seller does, what she offers to a team, and what I think of her, stick around and find out. Aerith is an aura support, offering great boost to party attack and overflow, along with lots of battery and healing. She has the very rare ability to revive dead party members, although of course taking deaths isn't exactly a standard strategy in this game. Her LD changes up her playstyle quite a bit, giving her a follow-up that doesn't rely on her attack damage, but rather scales directly with her attack stat, as well as not consuming the bravery used for it. It also gives her access to rare debuff immunity, applied as an aura as well. Her skill 1 is Healing Wind, which batteries and heals the party based on Aerith's attack. This skill has high turn rate and will also give the party a generic buff for initial bravery. Her skill 2 is Prayer of the Cetra, which batteries herself and a targeted unit based on her initial bravery and heals the targeted unit based on their max HP. This skill is actually capable of reviving a unit with 0 HP, bringing them back to their status at the start of the quest. This also has a high turn rate, not as high as Healing Wind though, and gives Aerith the unique buff Cetra's Favor, which raises her defense, max bravery, magic attack, and grants her regen, as well as a generic buff for attack. With it active, she gains enhanced basic attacks, her Brave Plus providing party battery based on initial bravery, and her HP Plus providing self battery based on max bravery, both with a similarly increased turn rate like this skill. Her EX is Fury Brand, which in its base form is not that efficient. It's just a party battery with increased turn rate. A pretty effective one, sure, but that's mostly it. It does give Aerith a new unique buff, Ancient Lineage, which is a party attack and overflow aura. It also turns both of her basic attacks into 2+ forms with 2 hits, but that's about it. The EX passive though does give Aerith a 50% last stand effect, so that's kinda neat. Her EX Plus boosts both her personal offenses and her support powers, and not just with the EX itself. Realization gives the cast gained battery overflow, as well as giving it an HP attack that heals the party based on the HP damage. 1 ingot gives her a surprisingly potent stat boost, giving her more battery power and more bravery to fill it. 2 ingots boost the overflow aura provided by Ancient Lineage, increases its granted duration, and provides starting buffs from her EX and her skill 2. 3 ingots is a second recast speed upgrade, which is very helpful when I get into her LD after this. It further increases the gained overflow provided by her EX cast, as well as turning it into a 3-hit attack with decent stolen overflow. It also gives her 3+ basic attacks while Ancient Lineage is active, turning the Brave attack into 4 hits and the HP attack into 3 hits. Her LD is Seal Evil, which first batteries the party based on her attack, does a single target HP attack, then does 8 group hits with splash HP damage. This grants her a new buff of the same name, which lowers enemy attack, speed, defense, provides a debuff immunity aura, and cannot be extended. With it active, when she attacks a target, she does a follow-up attack that's sorta like X-Death plus Pinello mechanics. She batteries the party and lowers enemy bravery based on her attack, bypassing defense, and does an HP attack without consuming bravery. This cannot break the target and extends her buffs 1 turn besides any that say explicitly otherwise. Onto the target, this places a framed debuff, Planet's Admonition, which increases their HP damage taken and keeps them from self-buffing, similar to Yuffie's EX debuff. The LD passive is a party aura for attack and max bravery. Oh, Aerith, a rather iconic video game character. Definitely keyed to be a white mage with access to offensive spells in the original game. She definitely takes more from that form of her than what she becomes in the remake, but her LD changes that a bit. As one of the oldest characters in the game, her base kit is rather, well, basic, and her LD is what one could consider her rework. A battery and heal that takes up a turn, a revive when they thought revives would be worthwhile in this game, and before realization, an EX that didn't even dump bravery. Aerith was a hardcore support in a game that evolved to dislike inefficient actions. Her realization helped this somewhat, thanks to finally making her EX an HP attack and improving her auras, but broadly speaking, Aerith just does a lot of standing around and aura botting, if only her auras provided more than just attack, max bravery, and overflow. Her LD changes this, offensively for the better, but oddly enough, reducing some of her support capabilities. The follow-up means that she now has at least 1 HP attack on 4 moves, and the fact that it scales directly with her attack stat, bypassing defenses and resistances, makes it effective no matter the fight, although considering most of Aerith's bravery is going to be coming from battery anyways, that matters less. The follow-up not consuming the bravery is also pretty great, making her brave attack variants arguably more useful than her HP attacks while she has it active. Since the Seal Evil buff cannot be extended, you are discouraged from using her base skills with it active, greatly reducing her healing while she's in LD mode. She does still have the healing from her EX, and I guess as a caveat, she's just not someone you're likely going to be bringing to a fight that needs a lot of regen healing, but rather a few moments of good burst healing. Arguably, the strongest utility parts of the LD though are her new buff and debuff, bringing another source of the rare debuff immunity aura and the even more rare enemy buff negation. The former attribute has 4 total users now, while the latter only has 1 other, and while things that niche may not find that much use, if you have them and the situation works for it, they are incredibly useful to have. Aerith has at this point in Japan been rerun, alongside the incredibly powerful Tidus LD on his burst intro banner. She got no further adjustment, so for now, what we see is what we get. Thing is though, by that point in Japan, there will be better aura bots, both in terms of the auras and the other things that are provided. The main unit to talk about is Porom, who low-key puts a bunch of other healing and battery supports to shame. She gets treated somewhat similarly to Aerith, getting an offensive LD with a follow-up as part of the buff it gives. While Aerith scales with attack, Porom scales with HP, reducing enemy bravery based on her HP and dealing group damage based on the party's total HP, along with party battery. She also gains auras for both forms of overflow, HP regen, HP limit breaking, a full party 50% last stand, and a boost to brave gains. That attribute of boosting brave gains is similar to how Lightning, Balthier, and Dark Knight Cecil got their HP damage up effects, something that is kinda slowly introduced but becomes more common and a very powerful tool to have as time goes on. Unlike Aerith, who can only do her follow-up when she targets an enemy, Porom can follow up as long as her LD buff is active, so even though she too doesn't receive a rework to her skills, her LD buff gives her an actual presence in the party besides just keeping the party alive and brave healthy. With all that in mind, I think it's fair to say that Aerith could use some adjustment if they want to shine some light on her again. One simple thing is just have the Seal Evil follow-up heal the party as well, giving her more healing while also maintaining the follow-up damage. It'd be nice to have the follow-up activate even if she uses one of her base skills, but I'm not sure how that'd work. Giving her some more auras would also be a pretty simple thing to do, as while Aerith provides good offensive and overflow auras, since she hasn't been changed since getting her LD now, she does lose out on extra effects that slowly become common later on. Without some core adjustments, it feels like using skills with Aerith isn't really much of a play with her LD buff active, and as strong as her EX battery can be, it does force her to lose all her bravery, which in some cases may not be the play. The thing is, besides making her skills not add to turn count and giving them instant turn rate, I'm really not sure how to change her base kit besides making it interact with her follow-up. So yeah, that's a purple Aerith. Ever since, Aerith has sort of just been there to stand around, simply put. Her base skills, even with their extensions, have no auras attached to them, with all auras being attached to her EX, her LD, and her cursed artifacts. Oh yeah, I totally didn't mention that. Aerith is one of the cursed 6, literally only able to have auras without her weapon passives if you farm for them via the artifacts, only providing max brave auras. Granted, what she does gain with her EX and LD are rather powerful, which is expected for a game like this, but it does mean that she needs a creative and effective overhaul or adaptation of her base kit to bring her back into a sense of general relevance. In terms of the unique things she provides, debuff immunity will be available again next when Ignis gets his LD, expected next month. After that is Aphmau when she gets her LD in October near the start of Lufenia Plus, and then there will be Lena, who is actually getting her LD soon in Japan as well as a rework. Buff negation is available now with Yuffie available on the Celeste LD banner, returning with her own LD and a rework on the Rude Lost Chapter banner. As useful as some of the things that Aerith provides are, it's evident that her LD acts as a separate mode from her base kit rather than an effective extension of it, so I give her a solid A-, as despite it sounding like she has shortcomings, if you get her now and use her, you won't be disappointed. She and other supports drop a bit once Porom launches, and without pairing with other aura units, she will be hit by the reductions of Lufenia Plus. If you like this character breakdown and want to see others like it, other Opera Omnia content, or want to share your thoughts, be sure to stick around and subscribe. Discussion, likes, and shares are always appreciated, and as always, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again.